Hello everybody and welcome to my Mythic Mugsy guide. On this guide what I'm going to do is I'll be going through the skip strat. I feel like you can do the skip strat even with 4 healing now, but it is better to 3 heal, so the last phase is a little bit easier. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'll go through sort of some positioning on the phase, and then I'll go through the main mechanics like the mines and the frost boots, just to show you what you need to be worried about in Mythic compared to Heroic, and what's really the important parts about the fight. I'd say the 2 mine baits are probably the hardest part of the fight, and now there is only 2. It's a little bit easier, and yeah, essentially just making sure you get those right will get you the kill. So yeah, I'll go into some positioning on phase 1 now. Okay guys, so just taking you through the general positioning for phase 1, you'll see that when you start the boss, you'll have him in the middle and everybody we stood up the top here. These are the markers that you want out. These markers won't matter as we've been through, because we're going to be doing the skip strat, and that's what this is about. So essentially the boss will be in the middle and you'll want a marker here and a marker here. Make sure that this marker here is close enough in so that your tank can get round here. If you've not got a DK or a Pala or whatever it is, you can stop the tank frontal from going and stunning the player. Okay, so yeah, this is where you start to play at the beginning. So we'll be up in between these 2 markers, and you'll have all started on the metal side. And essentially the first thing you want to do is get the soak. So you're going to have your players you set in the soak that are going to be people that have immunes or big CDs for later on in the fights. They do the first soak. Okay. And essentially you play out this phase. There's a line comes that the tank soaks for a player. There's a frontal cone that you all know about because it's all on Heroic. And then you go over to the earth side. Everybody's over here. And then you'll get the jails. Okay. With the jails, there's a fire patch right up here. And then there'll be the jails here, the jails here. And essentially your whole range group will stack up in here. Okay, and then you'll get frost boots, and they'll use these walls to block the frost boots. 2 onto the right side, 2 onto the left side. The people that come out of the jails, if they can't get out of there, they'll break these walls so they don't interact. These players are actually more like up here, and this thing is actually more like up here. That's why it's these walls, because they won't be stood here, they'll be stood up here. So you can break these walls, no issues. Okay, and then yeah, essentially you go back over to the metal side. You'll pull the boss down to the middle. We'll get the second rocket. The second rocket is everybody else soaking, apart from the 1 person that got this, and then the immune group. And you'll deal with the mines. I'll go through the mines. That's why I've not gone through them yet, but I just wanted to show you the sort of positioning and what we're doing. So essentially you will start metal side. You'll deal with the first set of bombs and all of that. Then you'll go earth side. You'll stay up here for that. When you go back to metal side, you'll free these 2 shockers and you'll move down towards the middle of the room. You'll deal with the mines down here, and then you'll deal with the rocket. And then you go over to earth side again, and that should be you doing the skip. You shouldn't need to worry about these 2 markers. Okay, so yeah, that's a general positioning for phase 2. So changes with the mines now are that you basically can't just soak them. They do really lethal damage, so you need someone with an immunity that stops a knockback, so basically a paladin. Or you can get a tank to do it with a bop. So you can see here, these circles, this is the mines spawning. You do not want to be stood on them when they spawn at all. And then you can also see here that we have a weak aura that puts a little bomb logo on them, so you can see them and you don't accidentally walk into them. I think that's really important. So soaking as normal as Heroic, just make sure that you drop what you're doing and you get in soaks. Okay, you shouldn't really do more than 3 as a person. Obviously, if it's going to be you or the raid, you do it, but everyone should be attempting to soak. No one should be stopping. Okay, so just make sure you get that done. And then just moving on to the immune soak. Basically, you want to put some hunters in there, not your paladins, because they'll be doing the bombs, your 2 tanks, your mages, and maybe a shadow priest or someone that can survive. This first group is an immune soak, and what that means is at the end of the fight, when the 3rd soak comes in, you're going to be baiting the big rocket on top of those players so they can just press immune and survive. Okay, there'll be 1 player that can be randomly assigned at that point. And what we say to that player is that you basically do not go in your jail right at the end, and you do not go into the second soak. There is a strat where you can put a load of cooldowns on them and put them in the second soak, and that means that the rocket will always go on someone that essentially is in the correct jails with the immunities. We don't do that. We just say stay out of your jail so you can put the rocket on top of who you need to, essentially. But you can do that either way, but just to let you know how that works. And then just very quickly about this tank line. So we may always put it right down the middle of the room. Okay, and then I'll stand in front of it. We obviously put some CDs on the person because we're using them for these things rather than the big soak. And essentially what you want here is you want an evoker just to very quickly on your tank just remove the bleed. Okay, just make sure they take it and they get that bleed removed, and it's nice and easy. And then just very quickly you can see that we have 2 hunters that are marked just by that arrow. Essentially when you're moving sides to go to the new phase, you have to have everybody move over. So we mark 2 hunters up. They're the 2 that are in charge of making sure that we phase. The reason we do 2 is because one of them might get a mechanic, and essentially when they move over we start the new phase. Okay, so let's have a look at the jails. You're going to have one on the right, one on the left. Right is always the way you're looking from the middle of the room, okay? So there's right, left is on the other side. Once you're in them, if you can't get out, those are the 2 walls that you want to break. This is for the frost shatter boots, and all of the raid will be stood here. You can see if the whole raid is stood there and you break those 2 walls, then when they get their boots, they'll have plenty of walls left to be able to essentially block the spears, okay? The people in these jails do not want to kill these goons until the Frost Shatter Boots cast has finished. The reason for that is they could get given one, they could get knocked out, and they could just get insta-killed. So they wait for the Frost Shatter Boots, then they get themselves out, and then should all be safe. Essentially, the way that we deal with that is we put 1 lock in each side and 1 healer in each side. If you're 3 healing, you don't need to do that. You can put 1 lock and a DPS and maybe 1 lock and a healer or something like that. And as always, monks are very good for it. But yeah, that's how you deal with those ones, and I'll go through the later ones because we're skipping the second set. We're just doing that set. Okay, so a couple of things going on here. The tanker's got their frontal, and they're just going down this line to drop all of the gold. And then also you're going to have frost boots just about coming in. So you can see at the top, they've just got their frost boots. Everyone is stood by the fire so they can dip in. And then 2 people will get told to go left, 2 people will get told to go right. You can see with those arrows, they block them, and we're fine. We're great. We then have a frontal come in. That needs to hit both of the shockers. So you can see that person is aiming it between both of them, so they can now be DPS'd. And then we're going to transition. So the 2 hunters that are marked over the other side, they're going to come over at 98, and we transition into the next phase. So just to reiterate with the frost boots, basically on Mythic, you're permanently slowed. The only way you remove that is by dipping into the fire. So that's why we stack by the fire. The people that get it dip in, and then they use the walls to block them. Okay, nice and straightforward. Then that one should be fine. Okay guys, so in my opinion this is now the hardest part of the fight since the changes. So essentially what I'm going to show you is me doing the mines as a tank with a bop. Okay, you still take the magic damage, so you still need big cooldowns from yourself at this point in time. But what we can see here is basically the mines are coming out, you get your co-tank to take 1 mine, and then you get a bop on you, and then you do the rest of them. So you can see where they're spawning there. So you can see my co-tank's done 1, I wait a second, and then boom, wait, boom, wait, boom, wait, boom. So it needs to be fast. You need to be doing it quickly because your cooldowns are going to run out otherwise, but you cannot just flood the room with circles to be absorbed, okay? You have to just do it with like a 1 second, 1.5 second gap cadence in between them, and then you're good. So as stated, now with all that damage in this phase, okay, you've done the last set of mines that's difficult. You'll have the damage to skip this set of jails. You do not need to do them, okay? So all you do is you just let your hunters come over really late. If you need that extra bit of damage, you wait until the boss gets to 40%, and then you just push. You'll get the boss to 40% and you'll start the intermission. Alright, you'll pull the boss slightly up towards the orange marker, not too far, just up above this fire patch a little bit. And then essentially what you're going to do is the intermission. You get a big arrow telling you where to go on the boss, okay? So which way he's going to rotate. So you don't want to use speed boost here really, you just want to move around the boss as a unit, dodging the circles, stopping a cast. Do not finish a cast, just stop it, and then go to the right side of the boss. Okay, and then you move up slowly. You don't want to use speed boost or anything here. And then you're going to rotate around, and then it's going to tell you to go to the left side of the boss. You stay right until it tells you to go left. So all the swirlies are baited in a better place. You go left, and this is the one you can use a speed boost just to make sure you're safe and you get there quick enough because he goes quite far. As long as you pull the boss up to that orange bit, he will always go down, then back up, then down to where you want him to be here for the baiting of the mines, okay? So intermission, just make sure that you are not getting hit by any swirlies, you're staying with your group, you're not going ahead of the group, and you're just doing some damage, but not griefing the raid, okay? Okay, so I just wanted to use this bit to go through the raid plan. So I won't go through this bit, but it'll be attached to the YouTube description. Basically, it just shows you how to do the intermission. So make sure you are looking into that. Okay. So I just wanted to go through these jails. Okay, we use NS, and I know most people use Liquid. So all you need to do is figure out what these are called and tell your raiders. So for us, this is far left, this is middle left, this is middle right, and this is far right. Okay, all the immunities go into Moon. Okay, your tank that's tanking the boss will be stood here, and then you have your off tank can help in far left here. Okay, and then basically classes that can survive, so DKs, rep pallers, an evoker in there, and again everybody else with an evoker in there to help people get out. And then this one, generally I put the locks in. It doesn't really matter, but I put a healer and yeah, the locks in. So what's going to happen here is essentially if you've done everything correctly, this fire patch is going to be baited either on someone in here, the tank, or even, well, it shouldn't go on the tanks, but it should be baited on someone in here. Okay, what can happen is the first person that got it, because we've not done the immunity thing here, the first person that got this one up here might get it as well. That person is staying out of their jail, which means that they're just floating around here hitting the boss, which means if they do get it on them, they can run in between these two marks. Okay, what you want is ideally for it to be on someone in Moon. That person in Moon then comes and stands right here, and then I, being the off tank, can stand in here and still soak it as well. The other tank stands in between here, so when they're getting knocked, or they can even stand here as long as they're in the circle, it doesn't matter. So when they get knocked, they're still in the immune soak. Okay, everybody else that's in here that is not part of the soak would stand right around this side, okay, to make sure that they don't get hit by it. And then you make sure it's forced into this position, and happy days, nothing to worry about. Okay, when you get knocked out of these jails, do not get knocked out this way ever. Okay, because if you do, you're going to go straight into the front of the tank. If he's here or if he's here, if you get knocked out this way, you're going to go straight into the front of the tank. So always just get knocked out this way. Also, because these mines are going to be coming in, which we'll go over soon, probably better that these walls don't exist. But yeah, okay, let's go back into the fight. Okay, so new strat. You have managed to survive the intermission. There are bombs coming in. Someone has baited a mine in a very bad spot, but that's fine. Essentially, you wait for all of these mines to cast. You get a mass entangle on them. Someone would need to do that one that's still walking out there. All of your players stand by the pool. Frost boots come in. They then run behind these mines. You won't see it because I'm off screen, but they run behind these mines ready to freeze them up. And you make sure you've got CC on them. You then come into position for your jails. Okay, you can see that you've got everybody in the right position. So you deal with your goons. All right, you don't kill this goon until the tank frontal goes off, and that's important. So what you can see, there you go, it's on one of our immuners. So I go and I get into the corner of that soak there. Everybody else in my group isn't in it. We break it, so that's fine. Then the tank frontal comes in, that's fine. I taunt the boss, pull it over to these two shockers. What's meant to happen is they get freed. I think our player dies here, but that's fine. You go re-CC the ads at this point because you've just got time to re-CC them. And essentially you're just smash boss, smash boss, smash boss until it dies. You don't deal with this mindset. The person that gets this frontal on them basically needs to make sure they don't hit any mines with the circle, otherwise they'll all pop. I think that also happens. But if you're someone that's fixated here, all you do is run. The rest of the DPS will be able to deal with it. All you do is just run, and that's it. You finish the boss. So you don't have to play that last mindset anymore. Makes the boss much easier in my opinion. So just a couple of things to say about this fight is the two sets of mines are the most important thing. You need to make sure you've got coverage on them. People are using their personals, their health stones, and you've got players that can do the mines effectively. Two paladins is the easiest. If you've got a tank that's capable of it, then that is also an option, but really you should just do the two pallers. If you survive those mines, you're in a great spot. People need to understand how the frost boots work, and you need to make sure that they are not griefing on the frost boots or standing in a place where their frost spear is going to essentially screw over other people that are getting knocked out of the jails, or that are, you know, trying to also CC up a mine or something like that. So they're the most important things. And yeah, with the damage now, you should be able to skip this, not a problem. Yeah, so as always, thank you for watching, and thank you very much to the guild that helped me out in making these videos. The galley one will be out very soon. And yeah, press like and subscribe, and thank you very much everyone.